Alabama head coach Kalen Deboer had a lot to say today after Alabama's practice, from injury updates on guys like Jaden Roberts and Jam Miller, to talking team captains, to getting a little cranky about a question about the second string quarterback. We'll talk about it all. Stick around. This is Way Offsides. 3, 2, let's go. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever the case may be. Welcome to Way Offsides, your favorite Alabama sports talk here on YouTube. If we're not your favorite, I plan on being your favorite after this video. Go ahead, do me a favor. Rep down in the comment section below. Leave a big Roll Tide and where you're watching from. Alabama took the field today for practice, and Kalen Deboer had a lot to say afterwards. And we're going to talk about all of it. All I need from you is a quick like, a sub, and go ahead and hit the notification bell while you're there. Makes things a lot easier on you. Yeah, Alabama practiced again today. It seems like fall practice has been going really, really well for the Tide. Kalen Deboer had a lot to say following today's practice. We'll start off with a couple of notes on injuries. Though Miller had a collarbone injury, Kalen Deboer went ahead and put some of the rumors to sleep. I've seen some people saying, well, he could be back for week 1. No, he will not be playing in the FSU game. He also said that the injury was a little more significant than when he met with media after it happened earlier in the week. But that Jam Miller was week to week. They'll progress from there, see how it goes when he gets back. I think the timeline that most people have in mind is getting him back for SEC play probably still stands. We'll see. That is a straight assumption on my part. He also talked about Jaden Roberts over there at the right on the right side of the offensive line. Roberts has not practiced at all lately due to a concussion. There was talk earlier in fall when Gino Vandermark was getting first team reps. Roberts was working with the twos. There's no timeline there for his return. However, I would imagine, given the fact that they started prep and game planning for FSU today, that it's likely Roberts won't play with the first string offensive line down in Tallahassee. That's okay. Gino Vandermark has done a great job. The offensive line has done a good job. And Kalen Deboer mentioned that. He said that there's been good consistency from the O-line. He said no highs and lows. It's just been all about the work there on the offensive line. And I like that. I like that. A lot of people are going to get hung up on the no highs. That's understandable. I get it. But really, what he's trying to say is there's just been consistent play across the board, and that's what you need from your O-line. And Alabama is expected to have one of the best in the country. Quarterbacks. Kalen Deboer was asked specifically if they're ready to name a second string quarterback. And I dare say his answer seemed a little bit cranky. Maybe it was just me. But he said, we're not going to get into that. He said there's balance, and they're still competing for that QB2 position, and that the guys have been working their tails off. But they're not ready to name a QB2. This, to me, is obviously I think it's smart on his behalf. There's no reason to name a second string quarterback, assuming Alabama goes up big and the second string quarterback plays at FSU. It doesn't matter who trots out on the field. I know that fans like to speculate about transfers and things like that, and that's perfectly normal because of the transfer portal. That's what it's created. It's not fans' fault that they're concerned with their quarterbacks transferring. It's because of the transfer portal. My money is still going to be on Austin Mack in this situation simply because he's got the most experience. I think Keelan Russell will be the starting quarterback in 2026, but we'll see how it plays out. But he did get a little cranky, so we're not going to get into all of that. I like the answer because it's the first time in my mind that I remember that he's gotten a little bit moody with the media. And you could kind of hear it in his voice. He sounded tired. He sounded a little worn down. I thought maybe it was going to be because they had a bad practice, but he really had a lot of positive things to say, discussing what Alabama did today in practice. Now, moving away from the quarterbacks, he was asked about the running backs. Obviously, Jam Miller is not going to play, but he did make it clear that there is a distinction between Jam Miller's play and the rest of the running backs, and that Jam Miller's play is at a higher level, quote unquote. Those are the words he used, at a higher level. And he's looking for separation from the running backs. He said it's a little bit of a log jam back there. Each guy has individual tools, which makes them great. They're all great athletes. Each has their strengths, but he needs somebody to step up and stand out and really dominate on all aspects of that position. We're not talking about somebody who can just run the ball and hit a gap and go. We need somebody who's going to be there for to help protect our quarterback, right? And so that's where Alabama stands right now on the running back position. It doesn't really give us too much intel into who the starter is going to be. I know that there's a lot of debate and talk. A lot of people think it's going to be Daniel Hill. Some people think it's going to be Richard Young. There are a lot of running backs back there to choose from. So we'll see whoever is, the most suited to start in this game, whoever's handling pass pro the best would be my guess to start. That is what I've said. Like I said, today was the first day that collectively and in a coordinated effort, the Tide worked specifically on FSU at practice. Now, there have been, film watching sessions and things going on like that. Kalen Deboer talked to that. He said that FSU presents a very unique difficulty in the sense that there's so much unknown about this FSU team. Obviously, they're going to look back at their 2024 season at that tape. He said that game planning it provides unique difficulties. There's different film being shown all over the place because there's the potential for new schemes. You've got to go back and look at, he didn't say this part, but obviously you've got to go back and look at Gus Malzahn, who's now FSU's offensive coordinator, what he's done at different places and kind of analyze and break that down. You got to look at Tommy Castellanos at Boston College. There's a lot of different pieces of film that are going into this for Alabama in their preparation for the game. It's a lot, and it's different. He pointed out that, they focus a lot on what Alabama does because a lot of people do the same thing, but then you look at the focal points of difference, right? Those differentiating areas of the game. And that's really where they're starting to focus at the individual level, like by position group and collectively in a coordinated practice, which happened today, finally. Which is good because, we're 9 days away from that game taking place. He was also asked about the mixture of vets and youngins on special teams. And he said, look, Alabama last year was at the top of the conference when it came to the talent they were playing on the special teams unit. And he hopes that it's not the same rep count here in 2025, but he's got a lot of confidence in the freshmen that are playing, not just on special teams, but on offense and defense. There's been so much smoke around Dijon Lee, Alabama cornerback. His size, he doesn't look like a freshman. The way he's playing, what people are saying about him coming out of camp, Kane Womack said in his eyes he's a starter. That's a big statement coming from a Division I defensive coordinator about a freshman cornerback. So that's an area of interest. I think given the way Alabama seems to be approaching their defense in this FSU game, we did a whole video breaking that down yesterday. Go watch it when you're done here. It makes sense that Dijon Lee may get some live game reps here. He may be one of the ones that trots out on that first team defensive unit. He may be a guy that rotates in. It's really what Kane Womack feels like is the best. Sometimes throwing a true freshman into the fire like that, we talk about this with quarterbacks a lot, can do a lot to kind of upset their psyche and their confidence. And that's not something that you want to do for a guy as talented as Dijon Lee. So if he's ready, Kane Womack will recognize it, and I'm sure they'll find a place where he fits. Connor Talty. We did a video earlier in the week. There's been a kind of ongoing joke on social media about Alabama's kicking games in the fall scrimmage. It did not look good. There were some big-time missed kicks. Kalen Deboer talked about it after the scrimmage. He said that since then, and specifically today, Talty had his best practice, that they put him in some high-pressure situations with some big kicks really kind of stretching his ability, and that he performed well today. And so that's an upside. That's a good thing. I think Connor Talty, once he gets a couple of kicks in live game action, he will be fine. That's the joke is that Nick Saban won a ton of national championships with faulty kicking, which he did. He absolutely did. He didn't put a ton of emphasis on the kicking game. At least it seemed that way. But this staff, they're confident in Talty and Connor Talty and his ability to do what he needs to do when his time and his number is called. Some other areas of note that Kalen Deboer talked about today, some things of significance. He talked heavily about Ty Simpson. He actually gave some constructive notes on Ty Simpson, some things that they're working on with him, keeping him upright. Now, I don't think this is him being sacked. I think this is him being mobile that Kalen Deboer is talking about, because he talked about how he wants Ty Simpson to remain aggressive, but also take care of himself. That's that is a huge deal, simply because we know that Alabama offensive coordinator Ryan Grubb has come out and said that he expects this offense to not be a run-first offense as it did last year. So he comes out and kind of says, we want Ty Simpson to protect himself. Ty Simpson was like the number 3 dual threat quarterback in his class. I think he was behind Cade Klubnik and somebody else in his class. So it's, yes, you want him to use his legs, but at the same time, you don't want a guy like Ty getting hurt, especially since he was just named a team captain today. This writing was on the wall. Kalen Deboer talked to that. He talked about Ty's vocal leadership. He's always been a vocal leader, according to Kalen Deboer, which I feel like that's something we all know. But he spent some time talking about each person. Deontay Lawson was also named a team captain today. Tim Keenan III was also named a team captain today. But he really spent some time talking about how cool it was to see Parker Brailsford named a team captain. For those of you who don't know, I honestly don't know how you wouldn't. Brailsford has followed Kalen Deboer basically throughout his career, came with Deboer from Washington. So he said it was really cool to kind of see him in the last 4 years grow into that leadership role. I think Alabama did a good job naming their team captains this year. I think these are guys that I really do think are going to be cornerstones of what Alabama can and hopefully will accomplish in 2025. Another area of note coming out of fall scrimmage, there was some doubt there regarding Alabama's pass rush. Go into what Alabama's been working on in the secondary with having that extra DB there, that middle safety who is going to come down and help blitz the quarterback, help in run support. There was some concern amongst fans about the defensive line. I'm in a big Bama group chat on X, and a lot of people are talking about that defensive line, and that they're hoping that it's much improved compared to last year. Kalen Deboer talked about the defensive line today, and he said they have been doing really good things, and he wants to see it on the field. So he issued a challenge to that defensive line, and guys like Tim Keenan, who is now a team captain, he will put his hands down in that cement in front of Denny Chimes. He heard it, I guarantee you, and hopefully it's challenge accepted for this defensive line as they have to work to corral Tommy Castellanos, the loudmouth down there in Tallahassee, in just under 10 days. Last thing of note that Kalen Deboer said today, something of note, we get a lot of questions about Bach. How are they going to use Mbakwe? Well, we know. He said it. He said, look, we've got our number 1 guys at wide receiver. We know who those starters are going to be, but there are guys behind them that will supplement what the starters do, and Jalen Mbakwe is one of those guys. He also said that he will be instrumental in kick returns again, that he did a great job last year, and they're looking forward to seeing what he can do returning the ball in 2025. I think that's interesting. I think that's exactly what we thought would happen with Bach. He's going to get in the rotation there somehow. I think there's too much talent in that wide receiving room to keep all these guys off the field. Did a video about that today, how Alabama's wide receiving room is the best in the country. There's a lot of people who think Auburn is the best in the SEC. I don't even think they're the best in their own home state. I think it's Alabama, and I'm saying that unbiased. I think Alabama's wide receiving core is all the way around very scary. They've got somebody who can do each thing that you need at that position. Like I said, we've got the showstopper, you've got Mr. Reliable, you've got speed, you've got size, you've got continuity, consistency, maturity, leadership. And Bach's going to be a big part of that this year. He's an exciting guy. I'm really excited to see what he does in 2025. So there you have it. That's everything that Kalen Deboer said today after practice. A couple of big things for me. Obviously, that defensive line, that was an area of concern coming into the season. Him kind of highlighting that they've been very good, but he just wants to see it translate to the field. That's a big talking point for me. Obviously, again, and I could be reading this wrong, but just watching the interview on Bama Online, when he was asked about naming a second string quarterback, he did seem a little irritated with the question. And I get it, because he's been asked about quarterbacks so much, but maybe a little bit of that Nick Saban's coming out in him. He's just tired of it, you know? I don't know. I feel like there's no reason to name a second string quarterback right now, right? It doesn't do anybody any favors. It just puts pressure on one guy who's not the first or second string quarterback. And right now, that's not the concern. The concern, according to Kalen Deboer, is this collaborative effort to get ready for Florida State. So there you have it, folks. Tell me what you think in the comment section. Be sure to go check out that video too. Like I said, it's on Bama Online. Tell me what you think about Kalen Deboer. Obviously, like I said, I felt like he was a little irritable. And I want to see if you agree with me or if I'm just being stupid. Probably just being stupid. So thanks for sticking around. I love each and every one of you. We're so close, you can smell it. So close. Oh, we almost made it. Live show tonight at 8 p.m. Central Time. We'll be doing our preseason college football playoff picks. We're going head-to-head with the Ohio State Buckeyes. This will be our last head-to-head before the season starts. We'll be doing week 0 picks. We'll be providing updates and about everything we're hearing coming out of fall practice and how Alabama is preparing for FSU down in Tallahassee. You don't want to miss it. It's going to be a loaded show, a good time. You know how we do it. Try not to take ourselves too serious and just make you laugh. A lot of hot takes coming tonight too. So be there, be square. Well, I don't know the saying. Thanks for sticking around with me. Roll Tide. I said that backwards. Be sure to read your Bibles. Say your prayers. Wash your hands. Horns down. Beat Auburn and LSU and Tennessee too. My brain stopped working. Roll Tide.